In terms of his economic prescription for what ails the country right now, how would you differ from what the president is proposing economically?
Well, what I was struck by was what a big gap there was between the seeming lack of urgency on the part of the president and what people are experiencing day to day. I mean, people are anxious. As I travel around the country, they are worried about losing their homes. They're worried about losing their jobs. They can't afford to retire. They're trying to figure out how to finance their kids' college education. They want something much more robust than the warmed-over policy prescriptions and the extension of the Bush tax cuts that was the centerpiece of his policies. I think that we've got to be a lot bolder than that. I believe we can come up with a short-term stimulus package that corresponds with both what the president and the Congress have talked about. I think that we have to add unemployment insurance extensions as a part of that. But the question is, long-term, what are we going to do? And I've said that instead of providing an extension of the tax breaks that go to the wealthiest Americans, we need to provide tax breaks to the middle class and working class families who've been cut out of the growth period. That will generate more business and more jobs at the ground level. We've got to have an energy policy that is so much more aggressive than the one that we have right now, both to deal with global warming, but also to invest in solar and wind and biodiesel, the green jobs of the future. We should be laying broadband lines, rebuilding our infrastructure. We should be revamping how we teach science and math and funding research and development much more extensively. I mean, there are a whole host of things that we could be doing that would reinvigorate our economy over the long term and make us competitive. I didn't hear any of that from the president.
A lot of those are things which you also hear from Senator Clinton. Where do you differ from Senator Clinton in terms of what needs to be done about the economy?
Well, I think that there is some consensus on the Democratic Party side, and I think that that reflects the unity of the Democratic Party. I think it will put us in good stead when we go into the general election. I think the question is who can actually deliver on some of these prescriptions, who can bring the country together, who can get independents voting for us, who can get some Republicans voting for us. How do we set up a working majority so that when we deliver on a health care plan that provides coverage for all Americans, that we're not going to see a repeat of what happened in '93, where resistance is mobilized not just in Congress but also in the public, and you don't ever end up getting it done.
Senator Obama, you're campaigning as a candidate of change, real change. You say you're an anti-Washington insider. Today, though, you were endorsed by Senator Ted Kennedy. Isn't he the epitome of the Washington establishment?
Well, actually, I think that if you were watching, Anderson, the powerful moment in American University today, what you saw was an evocation of an era back over 40 years ago when Americans were united around dreaming big dreams and seeing great possibilities around the corner and reaching for not just things as they were, but being able to mobilize and inspire a new generation of Americans to get involved. That's what I think Senator Kennedy and Caroline Kennedy and Patrick Kennedy were referring to. It's not that there is going to be an exact lockstep agreement on every policy prescription between myself and Senator Kennedy. What we share is a belief that we're in this moment in time where we can recapture that sense, that can-do spirit that I think Senator Kennedy's brothers so powerfully evoked in earlier times. And I'm very humble about understanding that President Kennedy and Bobby Kennedy were singular figures, and in no means do I draw that comparison. But I do draw a comparison between the moment back in those early 60s, those heady days when we thought that we could go to the moon, that we could solve the civil rights problem, that we could reach out beyond our borders and send a message to the world about American values and ideals. I think that transition moment is similar to the one that we're in right now if we take advantage of it.
Senator Clinton has compared how her husband is campaigning in the last week to how your wife, Michelle, has been campaigning. Is that a fair comparison? I mean, do you think the president has crossed the line?
As I've said before, I think that President Clinton has every right to campaign vigorously on behalf of his wife, and I don't begrudge him that at all. There have been times where factual statements have been made that were inaccurate. They just were wrong. And we want to make sure that we correct the record anytime that my positions are being misrepresented. But I have no problem with the president wanting to go out there and beat the bushes for votes on behalf of his wife.
No pun intended, I guess I'm beating the bushes. But it's been a very intense week of personal politics. Do you feel that the Democratic Party has been damaged in any way?
No. Take a look at the turnout in South Carolina, Anderson. You saw, for the first time probably in recent memory, you actually had more Democrats turning out in their primary than Republicans in South Carolina. We had a doubling of turnout from the last election 4 years ago. And we've been seeing that in every state. We saw it in Iowa, we saw it in New Hampshire, we saw it in Nevada. Democrats are energized. Independents are voting Democratic. I think some Republicans are voting in the Democratic primary. My sense is that we are going to have a nominee who has the entire party and independents who haven't previously taken a look at Democrats behind us when we go into November.